Welcome to the Pod in Your Basement podcast, featuring Ben DeLessio and Joe Garza. They're alive, they're hungry, and they're opinionated.
So, Benjamin, what are some spooky things going on in your life besides watching Seinfeld in esoteric, forbidden languages? What are some other spooky things that are going on in your life, man?
Well, that reference was because I was just telling Joe, I watch Seinfeld in Spanish every night while I'm going to sleep. But spooky things, well, it's the night before Halloween.
Yeah. So this episode will go out on the day of. So if you're,
it's gonna go out cool.
Yeah. So if you're somebody who doesn't have Halloween plans, well, we got plans for you now. You can stay home and listen to this on repeat.
Yeah, you're hanging out with us.
Yeah,
in the basement. No girls allowed.
Yeah,
he's at the door. Party ends at 8. So I watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil last night.
Yeah.
Had been on my list for a while.
What'd you think?
It was okay. I think it's one of those movies that I definitely remember. So it came out in 2011. So it's like the meat of college for me, like right in the middle of college.
Yep.
And I put this in my notes because I write reviews for movies, like small reviews.
And by the way, real quick, the topic of the episode is horror comedies.
Oh yeah. Topic is horror comedies. So I didn't realize that like Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is one of the first movies I've seen that now looking back, I'm like 2011 had a feel. Like those movies, a lot of people always like you watch a movie from the 70s, like New York, like that has a feel, right?
Yep.
And a lot of movies now have a feel that like a lot of people, a lot of film nerds, a lot of cinephiles will criticize in terms of lighting and like use of CGI or whatever it is, right? It has a feel. But like 2011, like that movie has such a feel to it that I probably didn't even realize at the time. And also I think it's fairly low budget. It was a Sundance movie, I think. Not that they're Sundance movies with large-ish budgets, but it was just like weird to me, like watching them. Like, man, this does feel like college. Like this feels like I've seen this type of movie many times. That it was one of the first times I felt that. So anyway, I thought it was okay. The shtick. So Tucker and Dale versus Evil. If you don't know, it's like a play on the kind of like Deliverance, redneck, hillbilly, psycho killers,
mixed with like the sort of teen slasher,
right? Camping horror slasher, where Tucker and Dale, like they are hillbillies, but they're kind-hearted, and it's just like a horrific follies type thing, like Murphy's Law, everything that can go wrong, and these college kids. Might be teens, but college kids like just end up dying in gruesome ways. But it's like Tucker and Dale aren't doing it on purpose, and it's a lot of miscommunication and a lot of stereotyping. So it's a lot of that. Like they're not killing anyone at all, really, and definitely not on purpose. So that's the gist of it, and it has its moments. I think I like Dale a lot. He's kind of takes more of a lead over Tucker. Tucker's the guy that I think a lot of people our age know. He's like the pirate in Dodgeball.
Yeah, Alan Tudyk.
Yeah. I don't. So I recognized him. I didn't recognize Dale. I don't know if you know him in other things.
I don't recognize either. But no, he was hilarious in that. So
yeah, he's good. And it's the girl who I was gonna make the meme. The girl who plays Suri in 30 Rock, who I know as, and I kind of joke, it's like, that verbal meme, the Joe Rogan meme where it's like, oh, you mean, and I was gonna be like, oh, you mean the girl who's married to the lead singer from Armor for Sleep? Because she was married to, I think his name's Jurgensen. Yeah, I think they divorced a couple of years ago, but they were married for a while.
Mm.
So anyway, that's and she's like really sweet, and her and Dale sort of have a thing. And
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, real quick, like the premise of the movie, like it's Tucker and Dale, like they play these lovable hillbillies. They're going out to the woods for like a weekend getaway sort of thing or something, right?
Yeah.
And they're staying in some shitty old cabin.
yeah, he gets
And-
they keep calling it a vacation house.
Yeah, it's a little shack, but they're like, oh man, this is great. It's just
Literally falling apart.
yeah, we're like just drinking and fishing. Oh man, this would be the best vacation ever.
Yeah.
But it's just this little shit shack.
Yeah.
And while they're out there on their glorious vacation, there's a group of college kids going to. So that's set up like a slasher movie. It's like a group of college kids. They're going out, camping, and then they think that Tucker and Dale are like these cannibal killers, but like so they're going they go out at night and they're going out to a lake to go swimming naked, and then like one of them knocks, she trips and she falls in the lake. So they go to rescue her, and they're like, "Hey, we got your friend."
Yeah,
so
we got your friend. Yeah,
they're trying to help.
they're
her.
like, "Oh my god, they got so and so, run!"
And then like, where you guys going? We got your friend. So then they take her back to recuperate, and but they think that they've kidnapped her. It's like, oh, we gotta go get her back. So while they're trying to rescue their friend, and then she wakes up, she realizes, okay, they're harmless, they're friendly guys, or whatever. So she's in good hands, but they're trying to rescue her, but they keep accidentally killing themselves while they're trying to rescue their friend. And like these hilariously over the top ways. And Tucker and Dale, they're like, this must be some kind of weird suicide cult. And I'm like, oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good horror comedy. Not exactly what I was thinking. I thought the title's kind of a misnomer. Like,
yeah.
Dale versus Evil. I thought it was gonna be these like lovable hillbillies like carving up zombies or something. Like
like they get caught up in some kind of supernatural thing or something.
Yeah, like what's it called? Because they even give an homage to Evil Dead. Where Dale's kind of like putting all the weapons on in the shed, like in a shed. Yeah. And what are the zombies called in Evil Dead?
Oh, the Deadites.
Deadites, yes. Yeah. I kept wanting to say Cenobites. That's Hellraiser. But yeah, the Deadites. So anyway, that's what I watched last night.
Yeah. I enjoyed that one quite a bit, but I think that the last third of the movie it got a little lame for me, where like the leader of the college kids, where it's revealed that his mom was killed by some hillbilly, so he's like out for revenge or something. So like it just kind of takes a weird turn.
Yeah, like I said, the shtick kind of goes on too long. Like it's definitely, and it's not even a long movie. So I think it's only 88 minutes, but
yeah,
I mean it was okay. Like a handful of laugh out loud moments. Not. I remember it being very talked up when I was in college, like a lot of people, and that might be because it was kind of like a darling of Sundance.
Worth a watch.
Totally, definitely worth a watch.
This is probably my all-time favorite horror comedy, Shaun of the Dead.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so good, and it's the first part of that Cornetto trilogy. With Simon Pegg as Nick Frost.
Yeah, it's Nick
and then Edgar Wright, who I think is a terrific director.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, it's a play on Dawn of the Dead, and it's very much like a tribute to the Night of the Living Dead movies. But what's great about it is that it's kind of a send-up of those movies without being a straight up parody. Like it's not like a Naked Gun sort of thing where it's just like zany gags. And it's played pretty straight.
It's British.
It's
British. It's gonna be a little drier.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely more subtle humor and more clever humor. But there are also just a lot of wonderful little like winks and nods where it's like, okay, like you guys actually genuinely love classic and obscure horror movies. Like I mean, there's one scene in the movie where when the character played by Simon Pegg, Shaun, he's calling because it's anniversary for him and his girlfriend. So he's calling up an Italian restaurant and he's trying to make a reservation for that night because he totally forgot. And first off, it's Edgar Wright on the other side. He's putting out like a really bad Italian accent, and then he goes Fulci's Italian restaurant, and it's like, oh, Fulci, like Lucio Fulci.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of like little winks and nods and stuff, and a lot of references to classic horror movies, zombie movies. And Edgar Wright is just such an imaginative director. There's like a sort of dance number set to a Queen song.
It's very funny. Kill the Queen. What? The jukebox?
Yeah. There's just so many wonderful. There's a lot of like callbacks where it's like a joke is set up at the beginning of the movie and then it pays off at the end of the movie. Like there's just a lot of like really great moments like that.
One moment I love in that movie that was scene I love is when their gang is sneaking through like their neighborhood and another gang like is going in there's like doppelgangers and they're like going in the opposite direction. That's very funny. Yeah, no, that was great. And it actually kind of added an interesting element to like the zombie lore that I'm like, I'm surprised no one's ever done this before. So they're at the first part of the movie, they're trying to make it to this British pub where they hang out. The British pub, it's a pub. Obviously, it's British. They're trying to make over there. They're just pubs. That was like side quest, real quick. That was like in 7th grade, we learned about Africa in history. And I remember, I'm in like a pretty liberal school area, and my friend kept saying African Americans, and my teacher's like, yeah, over there they're just Africans. Like, because it's just drilled into us not to say black or anything else, to say African American, which now that's like, now you'd say black again, but they're just African. Yeah, over there they're just pubs.
Yeah, just pubs. They're trying to make it to this pub where they all hang out at. And because most of the town has evacuated. It's London. Most of London is evacuated, and so like they're trying to make their way there, but there's like a crowd of zombies, and like they just pretend to be zombies. They just kind of lumber. Oh, what a clever little thing! Like, how come no one's ever done that in a zombie movie ever? Like, just act like a zombie, and they won't. And they'll leave you alone. I was like, but there are just so many wonderful little twists and on the genre.
I mean, Shaun of the Dead, like, as zombie movies are one of my favorite subgenres of horror. And, whenever I remember there was like a chart of zombies, like different types, and Shaun, they're like this, they actually are a pretty significant, like peg on zombie canon, as in like they are the quintessential slow zombie.
Oh yeah.
Like the dumbest slow, which I actually like. Like I think that it's scary. I really, really dislike intelligent zombies.
Oh yeah.
And it's really stupid. That's just more of a monster movie. And that was one of my quibbles with the most recent, with 28 Years Later. Where I also can like the rage zombie, which the people say it's not a zombie. Like I think that's fun too in its own way.
Sure.
But in 28 Years Later, I don't know if we discussed it on the pod, they have like intelligent ones that I think are really stupid. Like one literally gives birth. Like, it's so fucking stupid. But Shaun of the Dead is kind of at the far end of the slow zombies, and I think that's fun. Like, I think that's better. I like that Edgar Wright did that, because he wasn't, again, like you said, he's not just parodying Dawn of the Dead or other zombie, like he also added to the subgenre in a really, I think, important way.
No, absolutely. And he's definitely going back to the well, to the classic slow moving George A. Romero zombie trope.
Like Night of the Living Dead, they're very similar,
right?
But what's the one where they actually like speak, like they say like brains? Is that
that would be Return of the Living Dead?
Is that's Romero too, though, right? Or no?
No, but here's the thing: the first Return of the Living Dead movie was that was written by the guy who co-wrote the original Night of the Living Dead movie. So it's almost like an unofficial,
Gotcha.
spin-off of that. And I don't know if you've ever seen the first one, but they actually straight up reference the original.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
Yeah, they straight up like the events of Night of the Living Dead are treated like it actually happened. So it is kind of like a weird spin-off of George Romero's movies, but George Romero had nothing to do with those.
Gotcha.
But because Night of the Living Dead, they never did like the copyright for that movie, which is why you see so many, you go to any video store and you'll see tons and tons of like you could just download it, print it on a CD and sell it legally.
Can I stop you real quick?
What's that?
What video stores are you going to?
Any,
where are these videos? What year are you in?
I'm just saying, if you've been to one ever, up until the last 10 years or so, I don't know if you ever noticed that there are a lot of different copies of Night of the Living Dead out there.
Is that a comedy? Is that considered a horror comedy?
Night of the Living Dead, the 68 one?
No.
Definitely. Are you talking Return of the Living Dead?
Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, those are straight up.
It's from like 80, 85?
85, the first one, 87 or 88, the second one, and the 93.
The 85, one. That's the one with like the punks, right? And they're in the graveyard. And
yep.
Yeah, that's a comedy, no?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, all right. I don't know if you want to talk about that. I think I watched it like 2 years ago. I don't recall. I guess I remember enough of it. But yeah, it's like the police station and is that they have like the vats of
like the big canisters of zombies?
Yeah, the big, isn't that how they get out? Like okay, yeah.
And those zombies are the ones from Night of the Living Dead.
Gotcha. Yeah, but one of them speaks. And he's like, I want to eat your brain. Like, he shouldn't be speaking full sentences, but it's a comedy.
Yeah. But there's one funny moment where it's put to good use where like a bunch of paramedics and first responders show up and then they get eaten by zombies. And then there's after they've killed them all, there's like the radio in the ambulance is going off, and then they're going, "How can you give us an update? Give us a status update." And then a zombie picks up the walkie-talkie and goes, "Send more paramedics."
Oh yes, that is good.
Return of the Living Dead is pretty good. The first one's pretty decent with the punk rocks. It's got a pretty cool soundtrack too. Part 2 is garbage. But part 3 is not that one's like a more of a gothic like romance with that's also very gory. It's not a comedy. But Return of the Living Dead's pretty good. I like that one. That's a fun one.
Yeah, I can't remember what I gave it, but I think it was fun. It was fun. Like, it was enjoyable.
It's a good Halloween movie. Like, if you have a Halloween party, just have that playing in the background because there's so much like punk rock in that movie. There's so much like rock music that's on the soundtrack, so it's like a good screensaver background movie to put on.
Well, let's discuss, like, we just shared a few movies. Like, let's discuss the genre itself. Already, so why horror comedy? I think is such a unique, subgenre. I guess you would say a subgenre, a mix of subgenres. Because already horror in itself is tapping into like a part of us that is, horror and comedy come from very similar areas. It's a lot of times about taboo or releasing emotions, whether you're laughing or screaming or whatever that is.
Yeah.
So like there's a joy. Like I've read and I somewhat agree with like why zombie movies are so enjoyable is because yes, you can always, like, if you fight a monster, that can be enjoyable, right? Like you can fight off a demon, sure. But fighting off zombies, it's like the uncanny valley where it's close enough to humans because they are humans. Sometimes they were just humans.
Yeah. That
it is scratching an itch of like human violence that is a hall pass. Like you get a pass, you get a license to basically kill some maybe recent humans, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And that is a fun thing to do where I don't think you get that if you're fighting off demons or monsters or whatever it is. So comedy, when you mix comedy into the horror, like already some of the violence can be so intense that it feels like it's making light of that violence. Then when you add in comedy to it, sometimes it's like adding, like doubling down, like getting it like a double cheeseburger or something. You're just kind of adding another savory piece of meat to this this thing that, like, it's this similar, but together it's even better.
Right. Yeah, no, and comedy, I think, you know, there are limits in terms of like how much gore you can get away with in mainstream movies, but when you put it in a comedic context, that lightens up the tone a lot. So it's like you can have, you know, blood and guts flying all over the place, but because it's presented in a slapstick way, it's like, okay, it's less intense, right? And you know, it's almost like a sci-fi, like a PG-13 sci-fi movie where it's like, you can have lots and lots of blood as long as it's green, you know, or as long as it's blue. Then you can have lots of, or you can have exploding creatures, but they have to be alien. They can't be humans. If it's red, then it automatically gets an R rating. But it's like, you know, you can be more extreme, but because it's presented in a lighter tone, it's like I think you can get away with more taboo things. And you kind of touched on this thing where it's like comedy and horror, really, you know, I think the success or the effectiveness of those movies really depends on how much they elicit an involuntary reaction. So for a horror movie, it's like a horror movie is really effective if it creeps you out, if it scares you, if it makes you scream, or or something. Whereas with comedy is really effective when it makes you laugh. If you're just watching a movie and you're just kind of like, like it's not funny, then you know, then the comedy failed. So it is interesting, like, you know, taking two things that are on the opposite spectrums with each other and then putting them together, and both of them, like, you know, like a good joke and a good scare kind of rely on similar mechanisms, I think, where there is sort of like the build of tension and then the release,
the setup, and cheap, like, and at the same time I could see cheap scares and cheap laughs being similar. For instance, I've heard of, like, Jerry Seinfeld is of course I'm going to talk about Seinfeld in a horror episode, but he's talked about, I forget if it was on a podcast or on his show, the Comedians in Cars and Coffee show or whatever it is. He said, like, why he doesn't swear in his sets is because he thinks it's cheap. He said he did a bit once where he said fucking or whatever it is, and he realized that that's what people were laughing at. They weren't laughing at the bit, they were laughing at the swear word. And that's why he decided not to do that anymore, because it's cheap. And we've done a whole episode on jump scares, I believe, right? We did jump scare. It's kind of like the same thing, and how I think a lot of them are cheap. So you know, so that's the same like good horror and good comedy come from the same place, but also bad horror and cheap comedy come from the same place. Cheap scares, cheap thrills, you know.
Right, exactly. And I think you know, it's an interesting balancing act too that horror comedies pull off, because sometimes, I mean, you know, so for example, I think Tucker and Dale versus Evil, I think it's more just a comedy movie with some horror elements, right? Whereas I think something like An American Werewolf in London, which is another one of my picks, a movie that I love, is more of a balance of horror and comedy. Like there are some funny, lighthearted moments, but when the werewolf is on screen, it's played deadly serious. But like, but John Landis does a terrific job of balancing the two. You know, he comes more from the comedy world, so I think he knows a little bit, like, you know, I want to play this, like, you know, like there are times when you can be funny, but it needs to segue into something that's more scary, right? But yeah, no, it is and it's funny because I love comedies and I love horror movies, but I'm like, I don't know what kind of horror comedy I would want to do. Like, I would love to do it, but I can't. Like, I've got a million ideas for straight up horror movies, and I have a few ideas for comedy movies, but in terms of like horror comedy, I'm like, I don't know how to pull it off. I don't know exactly how. Would it be
definitely it's definitely like one of the why I said earlier that Tucker and Dale versus Evil feels very 2011, because it does, like you said, like it feels you are watching a horror comedy movie, right? Like that's very clear. It's even clear from like the title is ridiculous. Like that is very 2010s humor.
Yeah.
is Tucker and Dale versus evil. Like you, it's hard to explain unless you lived it, unless you were like in your 20s or late teens during that time. But there's just like a certain comedy then that I didn't love. Some of it was funny, but it's very like what's the term? What's the word I'm looking for? It was very like throw everything at the wall type comedy and see what sticks. A lot of like random associations, and I thought a lot of that was kind of stupid and cheap, but some of it was funny. Today, so you're saying like, well, if you made a movie today, how would you like? As we've talked about, there's everything now is just blended. Yeah, that there aren't. I feel like pure genre movies aren't made nearly as often. Where what was that movie that came out like last 2 years ago, maybe with Pete Davidson, where what was it? Oh my god, the one they're all in a house.
Is it Bodies?
Yes, Bodies. Yes, I was thinking 666. Like I knew it was 3 things in a row. But I just watched Studio 666. That movie's a pile of dog shit.
Oh yeah, I'll bring that up. Yeah, I didn't care for that one either. But I'd love to rip on that one with you.
The movie sucks. We can't talk about that because that is a horror comedy, and that movie blows. But like Bodies, where there are like funny elements to it, almost some slapstick elements to it. When you realize what's actually going on, it's kind of morbidly funny. Spoilers. This movie came out 2 years ago, I think. They're all just, it's similar to Tucker and Dale in a way where there is no killer. Right. Like they're killing themselves by accident. It started with Pete Davidson trying to open a champagne bottle with a sword, but like the curved type sword, and he cut his own neck. So, which also, by the way, some of the posters for that, I called that in the beginning because the poster on my screen had him holding the sword like to his face, and I'm like, oh, he definitely just killed himself. And that's the impetus for people thinking there's a killer, and then people are accusing each other and whatever. You imagine where it goes from there. Right. And they're all on drugs and drunk and stuff, so that doesn't help. So so my point being is that like but I wouldn't say that's like a horror comedy. Maybe a black comedy. Now everything is kind of nihilistic and black comedy. So like, I don't see a Tucker and Dale versus evil type movie being made today. Maybe there were. Maybe one came out this year that's very similar. I just don't know about. But
in the mainstream,
everything just kind of seems blended now, where everything has dramatic moments and has comedic and has horror, and some of that I think works really well, as we discussed. But some of it is just like, sometimes I just want to watch a romance. I want to watch a like a pure comedy. Like the pure comedy I think is starting to come back. Naked Gun remake come out. There's that one with Jennifer Lawrence that came out a few years ago. But that was like a decade, if not more, of like no pure comedies existing. Right. So I think horror is similar to that now, where horror is super popular. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but like it's probably the most popular it's been in 25 years, if not more. Right. Like maybe the 80s had, but I would say so, but I don't know how to even judge that. But horror is super popular. But I think a lot of it is kind of blended together.
That, and there's also this meta element that we're still going through, I think, because we still have another Scream movie coming out, so there's still like a lot of like self-referential, wink wink.
I'm gonna see it. and I said that after I didn't like the last one. I thought Scream it's not a reboot. I don't know what these movies are called, and I just rated and reviewed the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, where it acknowledges the first one, and there are even characters from the first one. So it's not a reboot, but it's also not a sequel.
Right, exactly.
It's not I Know What You Did Last Summer 2, because that exists. There's actually several, and I'm like, don't know what's canon. So anyway, so the Scream, I just called Scream 2022. I thought that was okay. But this last one I did not like. And I even said in my review, but I'm going to see the next one. And actually, I want to talk about Scream. Do you want?
Let's go into it right now.
So Scream original 1996 or whatever it is. Is that a horror comedy?
there are definitely quite a few comedic elements, but I mean, it's more satirical rather than straight up. But I don't know. Is satire a form of comedy?
Definitely.
Okay, then yeah, I guess I would put it in.
I would say it's its own thing, but
Yeah.
it's definitely related to comedy
For sure. Yeah, no, definitely. And there are definitely some overtly like, yeah, I mean, it's like Wes Craven appears as he shows up in that movie and as a janitor, and he's dressed up like Freddy Krueger. So it's like there are definitely a lot of like, yeah, it's very brief. It's when the principal is walking around and he looks in the hallway of the school, and then he goes, "Oh, Freddy, it's just you," and then it's Wes Craven dressed up as Freddy Krueger, and he's playing a janitor in that movie.
Does he have all like the burns, or is he just like in the sweater?
No, he's wearing a sweater, but he's got like the brown fedora hat.
Oh, gotcha.
So like,
dude, like think about the scene where Seth Green's character, right? Seth Green, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like explaining what's gonna happen in the movie that they're watching.
Yeah.
And like that's happening to them.
Yeah.
Where it's like that's comedic. Like it's meta, absolutely. It's satire, but like that's comedic. But next step, and we can go back to Screen, but then you look at Scary Movie, which is pure, I would say that's comedy horror.
Oh yeah, yeah,
right?
For sure. Absolutely.
That matters, but like that is satirizing Scream, like a ton. The main character, like the first scene copies Scream when he stabs the girl's tit and the implant comes out. Yeah. Like, so that's funny how it's like they can go from basically you have like slashers, then you have Scream, which is meta slasher, reboot slasher, satire. Then you have Scary Movie, which is comedic of the satire, meta satire of the original slashers.
And we're still getting sequels to both. Like both these franchises are still like they're still coming out. Like,
when was the last time they made a Scary Movie?
It was a while ago. It was at least a few years ago, but they are coming out with a new one though.
I think Scary Movie 3 is actually very funny.
I've only seen the first two.
I think it's better than 2. It's not better than 1. I feel the same way about Austin Powers too.
2013 was the last one. So Scary Movie 5, but Scary Movie 6 is coming out next year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scary Movie 3, very, very, very good. Charlie Sheen's in that one, right?
That's right. Yeah,
he's good. That's a lot of like Signs, and that has Anthony Anderson and Kevin Hart, and they're very funny.
Yeah. But yeah, the Scream franchise, though. I mean, like the first one was terrific. And it was groundbreaking for the way it kind of held a mirror up to classic horror movie tropes. But then so I've only seen the first 4, and I think I've seen maybe 6 or something, or I don't remember. I just remember that like I've seen bits and pieces of the newer ones, but it just got a little too like, hey, look, everybody, we're being meta. What are you seeing us be meta? We're being clever right now, and it's like I
thought Scream 6. I thought the one that came out last year.
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool that I was set in New York. I'm like, okay, that's fun. Like to have Ghostface on the subway, for instance. But outside of that, it was like, okay, like all right, let's I'm gonna eat the slop. Right? Everyone has their slop. There's people who did Star Wars is their slop. There's people who did Harry Potter's their slop. Marvel's their slop. I have a bunch of slop, but these horror. I mean, Game of Thrones is my slop. Like I'm gonna watch any prequel, any whatever it is. But like a lot of these horror movies, like I'm just gonna watch them. All right.
Yeah, I hear you, man. But I hope we eventually get away from the sort of like the meta thing of like everyone has like the audience has to be in on the joke. Everyone has to know exactly what we're referencing. It was groundbreaking. 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But it's
I want to talk about probably the last movie I thought of for this episode is I feel like I don't think you like this movie because we've talked about it before. It's Cabin in the Woods.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it. Yeah,
you should see it.
I know, and everyone I know who's seen it says it's great, and then I
It's
would like
really
it, so.
fun, and it was a very I give Hollywood a lot of shit, but I do agree that there is something about seeing movies in theaters, like a good theater experience.
Yeah.
And that is something special. I
Mm.
know The Hangover was a great theater experience. I remember seeing The Dark Knight in high school. That was a great, like, I still remember these experiences, right? And that was a big one for me too, was Cabin in the Woods. Part of that was I went into Cabin in the Woods thinking it was just a horror movie.
Right.
Because I didn't know. I was with a bunch of friends. It was like 2012, right?
Yeah.
I was in college, and we just like went to the movie. Like, hey, let's go see. And I'm the same way I am now. I'm like, all right, horror movie, sure. Like, I'll go see it.
Yeah.
And it was. Sorry, my cats are. Can you hear that?
Yeah. What's going on in there?
Well, there's a cat tree. There's a cat tree right there. So he's
like
on that. All right. So I went into it thinking it was just gonna be like a Tucker and Dale versus Evil, what that's parodying.
Yeah.
Just a slasher, Cabin in the Woods. And it's very much not. If you don't know what this movie is, it is I think, like, ultimate meta horror satire. It is Scream on steroids, because it's the characters somewhat very self-aware. One of them especially, who like knows all the rules, what to do, and more than just like, no, we shouldn't split up.
Right.
Like it's and then you see what's behind this very real, but it's also not like bodies, where it's fall, or Tucker and Dale versus Evil, where it's like follies, or they're doing like, no, there are legit monsters and creatures, but it's who is controlling them and why. And I mean, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know, like, the premise of the movie, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for you, because I think
I already know. There's like a group of scientists, and like there's like a sacrifice thing, and you know, had to satisfy the elder gods or whatever.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that, I mean, that's it. That's all.
Yeah.
So there's nothing left for me to spoil. But like the fact that they have like a whiteboard with betting going on, and there's one scene where the guy's like, wait a minute, I won, like, I did zombies. It's like, no, see, you had zombies, right? This is redneck inbred zombie family. It's not the same thing. and it's just really I love that movie, and I could see some people rolling their eyes at it, but I think it was really clever, and it was like, you get to see all of these different creatures, and I guess maybe with IP, like, they couldn't exactly take, like, there's a guy who's like very clearly a knockoff of Hellraiser,
right?
I know that's not his name, but the Pinhead, like Pinhead, but like a very similar type of Pinhead. And there's giant cobra and zombies and creepy Asian girls, because that's, you know, a trope. So it's like all these tropes, and I just think it's really, it's like a fun movie.
Yeah, no, I know. And I'll watch it eventually, because like, even when somebody gave me like a rundown of the premise, I was still kind of like, yeah, I know. It doesn't seem like a difficult thing to do. Like, hey, let's do another meta thing, and it's like, no, but it's much more clever than you think. So like,
it is clever, and it's fun. It has it has one of the Thor, right? The Hemsworth, doesn't it?
Chris Hemsworth, yeah.
And it's like, oh, you know, he's like the jock, and he's gonna save the day. And then there's like, and he's very good looking. And there's like the other guy is very good looking, but he's more of like the educated guy. It's the guy from the hospital movie that's been on for 1,000 years, Grey's Anatomy. It's like that guy, and he's like, oh, and are they gonna get together? And you think it's gonna be this typical group of attractive young people who have to fend off whatever it is in the Cabin in the Woods. It's like totally different.
Yeah.
And they even make fun of it. There's also like, they even have the trope that's in Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, the trope that's in tons of movies, where it's like the gas station with the redneck unwelcoming guy who's like warning, like gives them some creepy, like augur something evil. And he's just like, but then like he kind of messes up, and they make fun of him. Like all the scientists kind of make fun of him, and it's I don't know. It's I'm actually going to watch that movie again soon, because it's really, even when you know what's going to happen, it's very enjoyable and great. Do you know the last thing I'll say about it, do you know the cameo at the end?
Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah, damn it. Okay. Have you not seen this movie?
I think I still haven't seen it. I think I might have
know
watched
everything
some clips.
about it.
Yeah, because people kept saying like, "Oh, it's so clever." So I think I just skimmed like the Wikipedia plot. I was like,
Well,
I'll watch it.
yeah.
Just for
All
you,
right.
Ben, because it's you.
Well, you should. It's enjoyable.
I will. I know.
I want to share that with you.
No, I know, and I think I think another thing too that maybe put me off too is that it was co-written by Joss Whedon.
Was it?
Yeah.
Why didn't you like him?
He's
kind of a douche.
Yeah, he's a douche.
Was he a Star Wars guy?
No, he was more of a Marvel guy, but he also did.
Okay.
But he also did like Buffy and stuff, okay. And I don't know. He just comes off as like a very pretentious, like I'm very smart, but I'm also kind of a nerd, and I'm just like I'm very flowery with my speech.
Very, very of that early 2010s, even like throughout the that dude. Yeah. Right. Like that kind of like white guy who's into the mass market appeal. It's like, no, we're nerds, but like we're cool. Like we're the cool nerds.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're still some fucking nerds.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah, I'll check it out. I will. And every single person I know.
Like, what's his name? Who's that turd sandwich from Stand By Me?
From Stand By Me? Oh, what turds? And there were a few that came out of that, I think.
No, they're all great except for him. Jerry O'Connell's fantastic. River Phoenix is great. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And then not Corey Feldman, the fourth one. You know him? Oh my god, what's his name?
Stand By Me?
Yeah,
douche man. From Stand By Me.
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton. Okay.
Yeah.
Was he?
He's let's just say he would not get along with us.
Oh, okay. All right.
We would bully Will Wheaton.
All right.
we definitely talked about him. Like that's probably very early Reckless Musecast.
Okay. I'm looking at him, and yeah, I want to throw a chair at him.
I will say he's a big Dune guy, so I can appreciate that. But he's just a big walking douche.
So for my next pick, this one I thought it was just okay. A friend of mine played it up a lot, and it has so many things about it that like I was really excited for it, and then it ended up being slightly less comedic than I was hoping for, and ended up being a little bit depressing. But it's got a fun premise. So this is from 2002.
Marley and Me. What are you doing?
Oh no, this is from 2002. It's called Bubba Hotep. Have you heard?
Oh yeah, I know Bubba. That's Ash.
Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. I have not seen it. That's real quick. That's one of those movies where like there's a period, especially for people like you and me, because we're same age basically, where it's like when you're old enough, when we were in our probably right like late single digits, whatever that's called, to like the streaming era, when you know, I'm assuming you were like me, like you watched a lot of TV, so there are a lot of commercials. Now I don't see a lot of commercials because the only TV I really watch, you know, see ads with streaming, but like commercials being like football or whatever, like sports, or rarely do I watch stuff live. So that was one of those movies that I feel like I saw the trailer to that like 1,000 times. So 2002, I'm 12 years old. So yeah, I said all that to say that I have not seen it, but I saw the trailer a lot.
So it's got a lot of things that I was really looking forward to. So it's called Bubba Hotep. It's got Bruce Campbell, and it's written and directed by Don Coscarelli, who did the Phantasm movies. I like the first two of that series. So I was like, okay, this has a lot of stuff going for it, and it's a horror comedy. So the premise is that like an
Elvis impersonator.
Well, yeah. So Bruce Campbell he plays this guy who claims to be the real Elvis Presley. And his best friend of that is a black guy who claims to be the real John F. Kennedy, like the JFK, like the real JFK. He's an
Okay.
elderly black guy, and he claims that that he was kidnapped, and then they dyed his skin black, and then they put him in this homeless an elderly home thing,
Right.
assisted living place. So you got Elvis and JFK, and there's a like this mummy that's I don't know, haunting this place, and they're the only ones who know about it.
Okay.
And yeah, so it seems like I was going to think this is just a wild, irreverent, slapstick, goofy, horror comedy. It kind of started off that way, but then like it actually ended up like it kind of started to segue into like this weird sort of like rumination on aging and death, and I was like, oh, this so my friend who played it up a lot for me, he hadn't seen it in like 10 years. He goes, oh, it's so funny. I love this movie when it first came out. And we watched it, and he goes, this is a little more depressing than I remember. Like,
I didn't catch it when you're like 12.
Yeah.
It's just the slapstick community, which I'm assuming because it's very Bruce Campbell. Again, I didn't see it, but it's very Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that probably just, you're like, man, this is depressing.
Yeah, and maybe just because we watched it when we were in our early 30s, or for him rewatched it, so maybe it was like, yeah, like there's a lot of stuff about aging and getting older, and missing your heyday, and then it's like so. Yeah. But the premise is great. I mean, if you're explaining that to somebody, you're just like, that sounds awesome. You're like, count me in. And it ended up kind of ending on a little bit more of a somber note. It wasn't quite as zany as I was hoping. I'll give this one like a 5 out of 10. What's a good unit? What's a good spooky unit? Like, I don't know, 5 out of 10 bones, five bones out of 10 5 decapitated heads out of
5
corpses out of 10
skulls. Yeah,
5 skulls. All right,
we can think of something better.
Yeah,
5 skulls.
5 skulls out of 10 skulls. It's got a cool premise. Bruce Campbell's always wonderful. It does have some a handful of hilarious moments, but it's also a more somber movie for that you'd expect for a zany horror comedy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know if I were to watch Bubba Hotel, it'd just be because
there's nothing else on.
I owe it to 12-year-old Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's just those movies that you like. I saw. I mean, bringing it back to the apparently still existent the movie store, but like. You would just go to the Blockbuster, or I would go to, ironically, West Coast Video, and like you just see the jackets of certain movies that just like stick with you. Like to this day, movies just stick with me, even if I've never saw them. And it's the same thing with like another part of that would be just seeing the same. Like now you see a trailer, it's like on Twitter or YouTube or something. You see it once, you go out of your way to see it because like, well, I already saw it, I don't need to see it again. Well, when you in 2002, when you're just watching Comedy Central or something, or you're watching whatever, and these trailers come on all the time, and that was one of them, Bubba Hotep.
Yeah. I mean, check it when you get a chance. But it's definitely not a high priority. I think what's going to happen sooner is like I'll watch Cabin in the Woods before you watch Hotep. Okay, so did you have another?
I don't think I do. Do you?
Well, I've got a few.
All right, let's go.
Cool. Creepshow. Have you seen that one?
Creepshow, like
1982.
No.
Oh, you haven't? I thought you did at some point.
No, not Tales from the Crypt. Like
no. But it's kind of a parody of that a little bit.
Gotcha.
So this movie came in 1982. George A. Romero directed it, and Stephen King wrote it. I know he's your favorite author. And Stephen King actually appears in it. So the movie, it's a horror anthology movie, and the wraparound is that it's is that each of these shorter stories are based on a Tales from the Crypt like comic book. So it is kind of like a parody / tribute to 1950s horror comics like Tales from the Crypt. So it has like I think 3 or 4 segments, and it is a wonderful movie because like it leans into its comic book campiness. So like whenever there's like some like frightening reveal of like a corpse or a zombie or something, like it cuts to character like these character reaction shots, and they're screaming, and then the background turns all blue or turns all red, where it's like it's meant to be like super exaggerated, like a comic book panel.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that where it's like a live action comic book. Also, there are a lot of stars in this movie. So what the main guy from Cheers, is it Dan or
Ted Danson?
Ted Danson's in it.
Wow.
Stephen King's in it. Leslie Nielsen is in it. In one of his few serious roles. Well, I shouldn't say serious. He's because I mean it is a comedic movie, but he's not playing the dry humored guy. Like he's playing like a genuine sadistic character in this movie. It's got a lot of characters where like, oh, that guy, oh, he's in this too. Ed Harris is in it.
All right.
It's got quite a few stars.
Yeah.
Tom Savini, who did a lot of great gory special effects. He did the movie. He did the effects for this. He's got a cameo. It's a very fun, campy horror comedy. And it does tribute to like it's like there's a zombie one. There's there's a lot of like revenge stuff. There's a lot of sort of like be careful what you wish for, or like the evil, greedy businessman who arranges for this person to get killed. They come back to kill him, sort of thing. Like there's a lot of like comeuppance type of morality.
So what do you think? Like we didn't really talk about camp. Like where do you think? Because camp is definitely related to comedy. Horror. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's like it knows and it leans into it even more.
But I don't think it's the same thing. Right? Like
comedy.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking this out in real time.
Yeah.
Like Evil Dead. Would you say like Evil Dead 2 is comedy? I guess I would say it's definitely camp.
No, for sure.
It's like iconic horror camp, but
yeah, and like it's verging on slapstick. Like I mean, like it's like really zany. Like
okay, what about Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
That's definitely campy. I think that's
of course. But is that is that comedy? Is that a horror comedy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I guess I didn't really consider those to be horror comedies because how do I say this? Like campiness can be like a lot of I don't know, I'm looking around my house right now. There's a lot of campy right over there. And I know that I'm on a podcast and but there's like a Frankenstein head, there's a Dracula head, there's like campy Halloween stuff. But I wouldn't think anyone would come in and say like, "Oh, this is comedic." Right? Like I do. The point I'm trying to make is that I think there is a distinction where, like, a Tucker and Dale versus Evil, they have like one-liners. Yeah, that are funny. That's supposed to be a punchline. I don't recall that occurring in like a Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Right. Where it's definitely campy. It's one of the bedrocks of just the title alone. But
so I've got a good definition. What I think is a pretty good distinction between camp and comedy.
Hit me.
Camp is an aesthetic sensibility that embraces exaggeration, artifice, and the too much, often found in styles and performances that are so over the top they become humorous. Comedy is a genre of entertainment focused on making people laugh through various techniques, which can overlap with camp, but is not defined by it.
That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Like I think the camp element is that the exaggeration where it's over the top, where something where like Shaun of the Dead, where it is quippy, it's more clever. I wouldn't necessarily put that in the camp section at all.
No, but that's a horror
Killer Clowns from Outer Space is absolutely camp.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I think that's actually part of. We talked about this with Jim a couple episodes ago. Why I think I like Evil Dead 2 so much more than Army of Darkness. Yeah. Where Army of Darkness, I think, went too far into comedy. Yeah. And I didn't like that. Where I think there are some some of my favorite Ash lines are from Army of Darkness. But overall, I think it leaned too much into comedy where I think it lost the magic of. I think camp is more fun. Well, comedy's fantastic when you do it right, but a lot of times it's not. So like camp, especially coming from that franchise, like that's what I was expecting more. And I think it's more unique. But yeah, I wouldn't watch, like, I wouldn't say, hey, you want a good laugh? Go watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I would still put it under the umbrella of comedy. But like in terms of like being like,
yeah, it's a branch
Yeah.
of it, sure. But
Yeah.
I do think that there's a distinction there.
No, for sure. Yeah. Well, so in that case, I think Creepshow is probably less comedy and more camp. Like there's definitely like a cheekiness, a self-awareness of like, it's just a live action horror comic, so everything's very goofy and over the top. It doesn't rely on so much on gags and cleverness and wit.
Right.
But it is a very because I don't really remember laughing at it necessarily. But it's very, very fun though.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any other
I don't have any other, so what if there's anything you want to?
I can rattle off a few.
Yeah.
Well, Frankenhooker I think is probably more on the camp side. Dead Alive. Ever seen that one? The Peter Jackson one from the early 90s?
No.
That one is a pretty good horror comedy, and it's definitely known as one of like the at the time it was one of the bloodiest movies ever made.
Yeah, you've talked about this. Yeah. Insane amounts of blood.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, like Young Frankenstein. I don't want to talk too much about like really famous ones.
Okay.
So what do I have? Zombieland. I really enjoyed that one. I haven't seen the second one, but I know the first one's good.
Zombieland. Yeah. I guess that is that considered a horror comedy?
It's probably more comedy with zombies in it.
Yeah, the second one's not very good. I can tell you that. I would. Yeah. Probably don't need to see it. Like you could. I don't remember what I gave it. Probably in the 60s or 50s. Yeah, Zombieland's great. I think it was really a fun addition to. Even though I did rewatch it, and you realize how dumb some of them are and the decisions they make. Like running, they get in the ride, like the double shot type ride. That what are you doing?
Right.
Like that was so stupid that I didn't appreciate that when I first saw it. But
right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me, man. Is there anything else you want to say about horror comedy?
No, I think that's it.
Well, do you have this will come out on Halloween. Do you have Halloween plans at all?
We are going to go trick-or-treating with our niece.
Very cool.
Which will be lovely.
Yeah. That's nice, man.
In their neighborhood. Yeah, apparently now, like I'm in my town's Facebook group, which is just electric, and I live in like a just a suburban town.
Yeah.
And they like plan where to go, as in like there's a cordoned off kind of area, and sometimes and I've heard like trunk or treats where you go to like people bring in their car. Like when I was growing up, you just walked around.
Yeah.
And you just went to whatever street you were on. You just went to your neighbors.
Yeah.
And then you walked and you kept going. Like there was the only thing was if a house didn't have its lights on, like that was the signal. Like they're not giving like they're interested.
Yeah.
But you just walked from house to house.
Yeah.
I know I'm sounding like an old man here, but it's like this was one of those first, because I remember when I first moved to my house that I'm in, I was kind of excited. Like I bought a bunch of candy for Halloween, and no one came. And I was like, wait, the kids don't just walk to the houses? There's like areas. It was very, I don't know, and that I didn't realize that, and that changed in the past 15 years, I guess.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Well,
do you get trick-or-treaters in your, like, you live in a residential area? Like, do you get trick-or-treaters?
A few. I think maybe just because, like, it is a little ghetto, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is the neighborhood where a guy was trying to grill meat on a bicycle spoke. Last episode burned the neighborhood down. So maybe it's better you don't have trick-or-treaters, but.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like there's a good amount of traffic, and we have a train that cuts through the middle of the neighborhood, so it's probably not the safest place for little kids to be wandering around and stuff. Yeah, we don't give out trick or treats because we don't give out candy because we're usually out. on Halloween. But yeah,
well, that's my plan. What about
yeah.
you?
I'm gonna be going to downtown LA.
That's already
I know, scary enough.
freak show. People don't even need to dress up there.
There's a cool art show.
It's already the Night of the Living Dead.
I know, seriously, man. I'm going to some like art show thing. Where like some like gothic artist is gonna be doing has like a show, but there's also gonna be like, you know, DJs, and there's gonna be like activities and shit and like drinks and all kinds of other stuff. I'm definitely not. Well, here's the thing. So I'm like, you know, I'm not driving to downtown LA because like I'm not gonna park. I'm not. First off, you know, the parking is the cost of parking in downtown LA is very scary. And
everything's scary.
I know, yeah. And then you know, it's a Friday night, so which is already pretty wild in downtown LA. And so it's like I'm not gonna drive, like I'm not gonna park in a shitty area. But then I'm like, okay, I can take the train. And it actually, in the venue that I'm going to, it's pretty close to the train stations. So the train goes right there. But I'm also like, I don't know though, because then like if I'm in a train, I'm kind of captive with a bunch of other weirdos on Halloween. So I think I'm kind of taking a gamble either way.
What are you dressing up as?
I'm just gonna go Slash. That's my go-to. Let's go Slash. Yeah, it's easy. And already like other than the top hat, everything else it's just how I normally dress on a Friday night. It's just like so yeah, I'll let you know if I survive the ordeal. Downtown.
Stay safe.
Yeah, man.
Warzone.
Well, dear audience, happy Halloween and see you
in the basement. In the basement. We got it.